Listen, okay? It could have already happened. One of you might already be turned.
Okay, hold up. Hold up. You mean that one of us might not really be a vamp kid?
Right.
Well, whoever you is, you better get your ass ready to run, mother. You're a damn traitor. And I'll bet you it's this little nigga right here.
Well, hello, kiddies. It's your favorite neighborhood watchman, here with you again in another video talking about Netflix again. This time over Jada Pinkett's produced Cleopatra documentary. There's a lot to unwrap with this one, folks. So please do join me as we explore several articles. So without further ado, let's dive into the first one. This being from the New York Post, the byline by Erin Keller, with the title, Netflix accused of blackwashing Cleopatra. She was light-skinned. Egyptian experts have criticized Netflix for blackwashing its upcoming docu-series about Queen Cleopatra VII. Now they're taking action to see that the show never airs by banning the streaming giant from the country completely. African Queens, Queen Cleopatra is narrated and executive produced by Jada Pinkett Smith, 51, and stars Adele James, 27, who is biracial, as the legendary Queen of Egypt, whose specific race has long been a subject of historical dispute. Pinkett Smith previously explained that she wanted to be involved in the project because she, quote, really wanted to represent black women, end quote, except that Cleopatra was never black. But I digress. But Egyptologist Zahi Hawass, ding ding ding, there you go, who previously served as the nation's antiquities minister, is not happy with the, quote, completely fake, end quote, portrayal of the famous queen, who he claims was wholly Greek and not black. He's accused Netflix of trying to provoke confusion by spreading false and deceptive facts that the origin of the Egyptian civilization is black, which it's not. And as much as these liberal racists who project their racism onto others may not like the fact that DNA testing on actual Egyptian mummies have provided scientific information that they are closely related to Mediterranean Europeans than they are Africans. Cry all you want, but your emotions, your feelings do not alter these facts. Facts, as the saying goes, don't care about your feelings, about your agendas, or about your bigotry. Cleopatra was Greek, meaning that she was light-skinned, not black, the archaeologist told the Al-Masri Al-Yawm newspaper, per a BBC report on Wednesday. And that's Adele James portraying a blackwashed Cleopatra in this series. In addition, lawyer Mahmoud Al-Semri filed a complaint Sunday with the country's public prosecutor to demand that Netflix be blocked in Egypt, claiming they are trying to, quote, promote the Afrocentric thinking, which includes slogans and writings aimed at distorting and erasing the Egyptian identity, end quote. A petition titled Cancel Netflix's Queen Cleopatra has more than 3,200 signatures on change.org. Another petition for the cause that allegedly garnered 85,000 signatures was meanwhile removed from change.org. The official trailer, which was released last week, stirred up so much controversy that its YouTube comments have been turned off. No surprise there. The clip has over 2 million views. We know that Cleopatra was born in Alexandria in 69 BC and was the last ruler of a Macedonian Greek dynasty that began with Alexander the Great's general, Ptolemy. And while the identity of Cleopatra's mother is not known, it's been speculated that she, as well as other female ancestors, may have been indigenous to Africa. or Macedonian, that is Greek heritage. Netflix previously addressed Cleopatra's debatable racial background head-on, reminding viewers that in her time, Egypt's population was multicultural and multiracial. The creative choice to cast a biracial actor to play Cleopatra is a nod to the centuries-long conversation about the ruler's race, explained a news release on the platform's Tudum site. For their part, Netflix consulted its own Egyptologist, Sadie Ann Ashton, in preparation for the series. She called it strange to depict Cleopatra as wholly European. Cleopatra ruled in Egypt long before the Arab settlement in North Africa. If the maternal side of her family were indigenous women, they would have been African, and this should be reflected in contemporary representations of Cleopatra, Ashton stated. Well, that's a bit disingenuous, because the Macedonians seek to intermarry within their own culture, that is, other Macedonians, other Greeks, as we'll discuss a bit more later. Following backlash prompted by the trailer, James addressed the hateful comments she received on social media, including one that claimed Cleopatra was a queen, not a slave. She told fans to skip the show if don't approve of her. It should say, she told fans to skip the show if they don't approve of her as the lead. Just FYI, this kind of behavior won't be tolerated on my account, she said of the nasty screenshots. You will be blocked without hesitation. If you don't like casting, don't watch the show, or do and engage in expert opinion different to yours. Either way, I'm gassed and will continue to be. The Post has requested further comment from reps for Netflix, Pinkett Smith and James. Queen Cleopatra premiered on Netflix on May 10th. But unfortunately, comments are not available for this article. Gal Gadot, who was at one point looked to be playing Cleopatra, did not come into fruition. She fired back at people who complained, as you know they are, that there was whitewashing of a Greek historical figure. Critics believe that an Arab or African actress should play the role of Cleopatra. First of all, Arabs, the Muslims, did not conquer Egypt at that time. There wasn't even an Islamic religion at the time of Cleopatra's rule. So, no, she ain't Arab, and no, she's not sub-Saharan either. And Gal Gadot shared her opinion, and I quote, "First of all, if you want to be true to the facts, then Cleopatra was Macedonian." End quote. Gadot fired back at BBC Arabic in December 2020. "We were looking for a Macedonian actress that could fit Cleopatra. She wasn't there, and I was very passionate about Cleopatra." So now we jump to the Arab news, and here famed Egyptologist Zahi Hawass weighs in on the Cleopatra debate. Cairo. In an exclusive column for Arab News, top Egyptologist Zahi Hawass has weighed in on the ongoing heated debate surrounding Netflix's new show Queen Cleopatra, which is co-produced by Jada Pinkett Smith and stars Adele James in the title role. The casting of black actress James as the legendary ancient queen has angered Egyptians. And Egyptians ain't white folks.
Whatever.
But I digress. Where experts have argued she was of European and not African descent, the Daily Telegraph recently reported. A trailer for the new historical series sparked debate in Egypt and even saw Egyptian lawyer Mahmoud al-Samari make a request to the Attorney General to get Netflix blocked in the country in order to stop the series being broadcast. "I really wanted to represent black women," to quote Pinkett Smith again. She said in response to the criticism, "We don't often get to see or hear stories about black queens, and that was really important for me." Oh. Yeah, Cleopatra ain't a black queen. You gotta make up black queens? Actress James also hit back at the show's many critics, saying, quote, "If you don't like the casting, don't watch the show," end quote. And evidently, a majority of the public are taking that advice. Hawass has argued that Egyptians will most likely heed her advice. In his column, Hawass lists several pieces of overwhelming evidence that Cleopatra was white. He cites some of his own excavations in which statues, coins, and temple facades depicting the queen were discovered, none of which depict her as black. In the opinion of the world-renowned archaeologist, the Netflix series has been made to take advantage of the current contention among some in the Black American community that their origins lie in ancient Egypt, of which he sees no evidence. Hawass added, anyone with even a little education would not be able to take the series seriously. Cleopatra was many things and well deserving of having her story told to modern audiences, but one thing she most definitely was not was black, he said. Bada bing! Kaboom. To bounce right into the Greek Reporter, I'll just read a couple of paragraphs by Sumatra Matra. I became aware of furious Greek and Egyptian op-eds about the forthcoming new Netflix series on Cleopatra VII, Philopater, after I had the misfortune of watching the trailer. It is almost comical. In it, I am not making this up, a woman of advanced age sagely opines that no matter what anyone tells you in school, her grandmother said that Cleopatra was black, and that's that. Following this, a petition started by 2 Egyptians began circulating, criticizing Hollywood's Afrocentrism and calling for the preservation of the true history of both Greeks and Egyptians. Apparently, the phenomenon evidenced by Netflix is now called blackwashing. Cleopatra is also not the first or only woman to be blackwashed. Anne Boleyn and Queen Charlotte have also gotten the treatment. It gives black history a whole new meaning. Cleopatra was, of course, not black. She was Ptolemaic Greek and Macedonian, the only ever Greek ruler under Roman suzerainty who managed to, at least vaguely, learn the native language of the land she ruled as a foreigner. She is therefore a figure close to both Greeks and Egyptians. Roman depictions of her show a proud and sculpted Grecian nose bridge, with pale skin and reddish hair, although that might just be bad dye in an old painting. Why is this happening? Why is this Afrocentricity being pushed, and why are non-black historical figures being blackwashed? Here the author says the cause is simple. This is the ultimate endpoint of what I call the 1619 School of History. Here truth and facts have no meaning, and the only thing that matters is demonstrable power, usually over you, dear reader. It is, in simple words, falsifying history to create an alternative historical and artistic starting point, a year zero for the future generations to come. That is why you see the desecration of Tolkien by Amazon, in the name of diversity and representation, instead of new stories by new authors. This is why one can observe the co-opting of historical figures to destroy historical accuracy. I have more articles you can go over, but really, this goes more into the Ptolemaic dynasty. There are many good channels on YouTube dedicated to history. And if you wish to dive further into it, you can seek them out and you'll find them. Queen Cleopatra director speaks out. What bothers you so much about Black Cleopatra? Well, you know what? We can turn that around and ask you, what bothers you so much about a white Greek Cleopatra, which is historically factual? I mean, if you're going to make a documentary, it's supposed to be truthful and based on facts. If you want to make a movie about some fictional black queen, then create one. Write an original story instead of trying to blackwash. So, folks, we close another door belonging to Netflix's House of Wokeism. I'm sure we'll be walking into other doors as they open, because it seems Netflix can't help themselves, despite whatever they may say to the contrary. So, folks, if you agree with this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. So hit that notification bell so that you always be forewarned whenever I'm about to drop another video. And as always, stay safe and I bid you peace.
Oh, you want this shit right here, nigga? Well, you gonna have to pry from my cold, dead hands. Cause us fam kids stick together. Right, fam kids?
Yeah.
Come on, let's these bitches up.